Black people couldn't have the priesthood in the 1830s. Brigham Young pushed for slavery, Brigham Young won. But we as saints, what we do every week is learn hard history.
Did you guys know that there was a black person that held the priesthood during the times of slavery? Today we are on set, gonna get behind the scenes footage on the story of the man, the myth, the legend, Elijah Abel, and hopefully get to learn some things together, maybe clear up a couple misconceptions and have some fun. Let's get it.
So here we are on set, getting a tour of everything and meeting the team. There was so much detail and planning going into this project.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
So I didn't know Mauli was directing this.
What's up,
How you doing?
Great, how you doing,
It's
bro?
good to see you.
You too, thanks for coming through.
Of course, yeah.
The Bonner family has done so much for the faith, and we will go into this specific project here soon, but seeing the detail and effort and the realness of the saints at that time was amazing to see to come to fruition. Mauli did a great job with all this. Now, I can't wait for you guys to see this project. I was inspired by the faith of the members at this time, and I think you guys will be in awe of these pieces.
So, 1852 legislative debate. That's when they decided Utah's gonna be a slave territory or free territory.
Okay.
In this scene, Biddy Mason, who came across the trek as well, enslaved, she's listening to Brigham Young prepare for this debate. And then she's gonna run over to Orson Pratt's house, who was on the other side of the argument, debating for there to be a free territory. So she's listening in on both of them going back and forth. And so right now, we're listening to her going into Brigham Young's office as he's preparing to debate to have slave territory in Utah.
I was humbled at my lack of knowledge and perspective when it came to viewing early church history. This is our history. All of us. I'm excited for us to take this journey together. Let's get it.
We're set. Rolling.
Action!
We back at it. We're out here with the man, the myth, the legend, Mauli Bonner.
Yeah, man.
First of all, I just want to say I appreciate you letting us on set. This is absolutely amazing.
Absolutely. It's amazing for me too, because I didn't even know this place existed. So when I found out a few months ago, I was like, now this project's gonna be legit.
Speaking of the project, can you explain to us, what are we here to see? What are we watching? What are we witnessing?
Yes, okay. So where you are is on the set of the Elijah Abel Project. And this follows the life of Elijah Abel and the history of the priesthood as it pertains to black people. What happened? Because we think like, the priesthood ban, when did it go away? When did it come back? And following Elijah's life lets us know that the priesthood was here from the beginning and how it went away. And so what's beautiful about the project is not just like a movie. It's 6 episodes and dramatized episodes. And after those 6 episodes, there's also gonna be 6 documentary episodes.
Wow.
So we have historians and professors and authors that are gonna be talking about the history to walk us through what happened.
And I think, so one thing that we get, just to be fully transparent with you guys, when we make any videos about race, we get both, like we get the extremes of the pendulums all the time. And I feel like we have a decrease in rational people in comment sections, so we only get the extreme things. And what I've struggled with is, in my comment section specifically, I either get, I am betraying my race because I'm a part of the faith, or the other side, we're sick of talking about race, it's not our fault, it has nothing to do with us. And I'm just like, if we were educated properly, things would have been put in place, whether it be literally or just in our spirits and our hearts, for us to be able to progress and heal together and be able to approach things that have eternal value. But because we get caught up in not being able to understand history, I think it prevents us from having productive dialogue. But that's why I'm so passionate about being here on set and just hearing about it. So out the gate, who is Elijah Abel for people who do not know who he is?
Yes. So Elijah Abel is an early black pioneer who joined the church at a young age. He received the priesthood in 1836. And so that's the biggest, like, wait, if you don't know the history of like the priesthood, you're thinking black people couldn't have the priesthood in the 1830s, you know, but Joseph Smith, there was no restrictions. So the church was ahead of its time when it was distributing the priesthood equality to its membership. And that's the core of who we are as saints. Priesthood equality for everybody. Elijah Abel had it. He went on a mission, served a mission in Canada. And then Joseph Smith dies, Brigham Young becomes the new prophet. 1852 happens, where now that you have all these pioneers that came into the territory, they had to decide, is it gonna be a free territory or a slave territory? that big debate happened. Brigham Young pushed for slavery. Orson Pratt of the 12 Apostles pushed for freedom. Brigham Young won. Then with slavery came the removal of the priesthood. So it kind of went with each other, because in the debate, Brigham Young says, and they can't hold the priesthood. So he kind of doubled down as governor and as prophet.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That just blew my mind though, because I did not know about, first of all, I didn't even know there was a debate to have slavery in Utah. And that makes things completely different when you think about how the priesthood would have been implemented, because that is why I've always had this theory that how can you tell a black man that he has the power of God and enslave him? Mm-hmm. And how would other people feel about that are outside the faith, and what would that do to the membership? What would that do to the church? I always thought about what happens. Or let's say that the church decides, hey, they're standing 10 toes on the fact that everybody can have the priesthood. Now, what would the relation between American states and Utah be? And does that cause friction? I don't know. What do you...
Okay, well, here's how I see it. Okay, before we even get into it, we all have to be in agreement. Those watching, listening, reading, we weren't there. We weren't there. And so we don't have to carry the weight of these decisions, but we do have the responsibility to learn, right?
Yes.
None of us were there, and we wish it all happened in the most beautiful way. It didn't. But we as saints, what we do every week is learn hard history. Yes. Every week we dive into history. So when people do feel like, when you were saying like, why are we still talking about this? This is what we do as saints. We talk about, this is what we do. Like, what are you talking about? Like every week, like, and every 4 years, it's the Book of Mormon again. Like, we don't say that. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, this is just who we are. So, and we're learning more. There's so much more to learn. So as we talk about it, just know we're just learning history. Yeah. We're learning and growing from it. Here is the tricky part. It was a debate about whether or not it was going to be a free territory or a slave territory. And now that kind of puts things in perspective. Okay, so this is more than just religion. We're talking about politics, you know? Yeah. And so that was really intertwined with our faith here in Utah, because everybody would remember the members of the church. Yeah. And so that's when it gets really complicated in trying to separate politics from the organization of the church.
Wow. Now, with what you guys are capturing on film, what do you guys hope it accomplishes? 'Cause I know off camera we were talking about how we would love for it to be applied in curriculum. Yeah. What is the goal of the project?
I love that you asked that question, because I think that's the main question I get asked when I'm trying to move this project forward. I want this to be in the places where we as Latter-day Saints learn. And it's not to say that those of you who aren't members of the church shouldn't learn it or whatever, but if you're in the faith, we should know our history, you know, and we're so good at that as saints, like knowing the scriptures. And so there's stories that we don't fully understand and know. So instead of us going on Google and learning from Joe at work, we get to learn within our church spaces.
I think it was, I don't know if it was Enoch, but we look in the scriptures and I think the Lord had showed one of the prophets the world, and he like trembled and he was distraught by the wickedness that he's seen in the world, and it made him sad. And I find myself getting in that mental space with the more information that I receive from the world. Yeah. And obviously peace comes from the scriptures, and things that like to the world that should have thwarted my testimony actually strengthen it, because I was able to find within grace. Now I'm not going to spoil how the episodes play out, but y'all, I went into here thinking to myself, you know what, Joseph Smith wrote for black people, Brigham Young didn't. I was like, yeah, that is what it is. Brigham Young's probably racist, probably wouldn't like him, probably wouldn't want to eat dinner with me. I sat in there and listened to Brigham Young's actual quotes, watched it play out, and felt a sense of love for my Savior, and I felt a sense of love for Brigham Young, and realizing that you're right, I was not there, and there is so much that I missed and don't understand, and how arrogant of me to assume that I understood maybe his upbringing, and also maybe the weight and the burden that he had at that time. And I realized that the more that information that we receive, truth that we receive, we are able to find grace in spaces where we thought we couldn't.
Right. And I'll say this. Yeah. What is beautiful about looking into difficult history is it doesn't have to change like what's right or wrong. Like, yeah. Doesn't mean that we're like, we find ways to validate it and say it was okay. Like, no, like it never should have happened. Slavery never should have happened. Priesthood should have been for everybody. But now that we know that, what was the history? What was the context to really fully understand it? So it's not so clean cut. So just to have a broader understanding of the history, it strengthened my faith too. Like I thought it was gonna break me. I was like, okay, I'm gonna dive in. And when I do, I don't know but I just got closer to the Lord. It strengthened my testimony. And I'm hoping that this project does the same thing for everybody who watches it.
Yeah.
That they're able to journey through this difficult history, but draw closer to the Lord through it.
And I think what's great about learning about difficult history is because we may not be able to directly relate to these things, but the principles we can take to our lives, right? So how do you, like, for someone who understands Elijah Abel's life and the things that he went through, what are some ways that we can take those principles and apply it to our life? And the reason why I ask is because there are a lot of young viewers who are looking at this and, you know, maybe they don't have to deal with the struggle of being a different race, but one thing that they can struggle with is maybe not fitting in the way that they want to. But with that, I think it's one thing that I feel like they do in the media is that there's like, people can't see themselves in people that look differently than them. Mm-hmm. With the majority of the members of the faith looking different than Elijah Abel, how can they see themselves in him? Like, what are ways that they could take the principles and apply to their life?
That's a great question, because I think what we forget is we're already doing it. I don't think you, me, or probably most of the people listening and watching this thing look like the people in the stories of the scriptures that we learn from.
Yeah.
Yet we feel so connected to them. Like they're not like these, you know, they don't look like white America. They don't look like black America. They're somewhere in between there, different, right? And yet we connect to these stories in the scriptures. This is no different. Like we don't have to look like Elijah Abel to understand him, but what we can do is learn from how he endured the things that we're learning about. Like he actually lived it and endured it. How did he navigate that? So I do think for the younger generation and my generation, like yours and then my generation, we just have to realize that even though things may not go the way we believe they should go, like policies, things we hear, read, whatever, that should not determine whether or not we stay faithful. That has nothing to do with my faith. Nothing. We just have to continue to learn and grow from it. It's just like American history. Like, as we learn about black history in America, I'm not like, I'm out. What? We were enslaved? Or like, I'm out here. Like, no, this is my country. I love my country. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I want to learn from it. And so it's just no different. It's no different. We have the tools to do it. We just have to apply it here.
Yeah. No, I love that. Thank you. Because I'm learning as I'm sitting here. And yeah, I am. It's sometimes I feel like the world can make it seem like it is, I guess, a contradictory statement to say, we can be better, but also that I love where I am. I love this faith. I couldn't see myself like this, the gospel of Jesus Christ. I can't see myself anywhere else. I also am proud to be an American, but that is a wild statement to say considering the history of our people in both of those facets. But when you look at things from, I guess I try to look at things from an eternal perspective and kind of understand that there is a lot yet that I have to learn. And I think just like in the simplest form of like buying something, right? Like time is information. If you want to make like a big purchase or whatever, the more time that passes, the more information you receive, the better informed you are to make the purchase. And I think as I've gotten older, I've just realized as time passes, if you intentionally find information instead of passively letting it come to you, then you'll be able to, I think, navigate these tougher topics. Yeah. So my question for you, and what are some of these stories, like if there was like a story that you wanted the viewers to hear about Elijah Abel's life, what is the one story that you will say, like, if you don't hear anything else, I want you to hear the story because this is the type of person that we all should like to be like?
I think what was special about Elijah Abel, and I'm not where he was, I couldn't have done what he did, is this. He received the priesthood. Joseph Smith himself signed his priesthood papers. Joseph Smith Sr. gave him a patriarchal blessing. He was sent on a mission as a black man. Now that's all taken from him. And if you're a black person in the 1800s, families being sealed together for eternity, what that means to our people, when all we know is being torn apart, this gospel held the key to what was destroying us for centuries. And now that's taken away, I can imagine how heartbreaking that was, now that he can't seal his family together. However, he continued to petition to be able to go to the temple and do the work for his family. He was denied that, but he was able to keep his priesthood. So he chose to, after being denied access to the temple, to go serve a mission. What? You're gonna go serve a mission after they just took everything away? And I think he knew we were gonna be telling his story. I don't know that he wanted to go serve a mission. I bet you he was like, I'm out. But he's like, oh wait, they're gonna read this. They're gonna know. And they need to know what faith really looks like, because he went on a mission for the Lord, not for the policy, not for the leader, not for the bishop, for the Lord. And so if I can have that faith, when it's all stripped from me, that's the goal for me.
Wow. Man, the story that I'm getting chills. The story that I tell the youth when I go speak to them is I like to call myself a glorified failure, because I like all the things that I've shot for in my life, it just didn't pan out at all. Like sports, music, like all the stuff I've been pushing towards, but yet the Lord granted me opportunities to be able to perform in the spaces he needed me to be, and allowed me to be in the space where I can openly share my faith. And by you telling me that, you understand, like people go through things. Like in my head, I'm like, what am I doing? Like, should I even continue to be doing what I'm doing? Like, what is it really going to resort to? And you know, my generation, we're constantly in comparison on social media all the time. I don't even know if we were meant to see this many people's lifestyles, but just to realize that, hey, there's a lot of work that I need to be doing. And there is a huge gap between my faith and Elijah Abel faith. And the common thread that we have, though, is our love of the Savior Jesus Christ, and how through Jesus Christ we can honestly do everything we want, and we have the opportunity to not just live with our families forever, but to inspire people who are even outside of our family. You don't understand the work that you're doing. I understand, like you probably been through the ringer, but I just want to say that I completely adore your work ethic. If you guys, I need you guys to bookmark this episode. I need you guys to comment anything you guys like to see behind the scenes. You're gonna be doing some filming in Virginia.
You're the first and only, by the way, because I've just been so hyper-focused. And people are like, should we do interviews? I'm like, I can't even. But when you hit me up, I was like, done. Nobody's been here, no interview. I haven't even posted on social media about it. Like, you're it, you know, because I just love the work that you do.
I appreciate it.
I know it's a sacrifice, bro. I know. And I'm grateful for you.
I appreciate
it. I'm trying not to cry over it. Like, I know the sacrifice that you put in, and I know it's worth it. Like, there's gonna be somebody out there that needed to hear your message. And I know some of you, I don't know if you're watching this and you're just upset, but maybe that dissipated by now, you know? Maybe you're like, I wish I didn't comment that, and thank you for that, you know? Like, but I really feel like change is coming. We just stay the course, and hearts are softening. I just love being about this work. I love it.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything. I think it's one of the most amazing things about the gospel is that how we can read the same scriptures. We can come from completely different backgrounds and we feel the same spirit. And it can be in different languages. You can come from all over across the world, across generations, we feel the same spirit. So I appreciate what you're doing here. And for the viewers out there, they're gonna be filming throughout the summer. So if y'all need me to take a trip to Virginia to go get some more behind the scenes footage, let me know, we in there. All right. But the one message that I know that we would want to share is that it sounds corny, but we really are all family.
One family.
Really just one family. And the more we take time to understand each other, this is not just understanding race relations. This is understanding how to navigate your own family. Because there's probably a black sheep in your family. Maybe you are the black sheep. There's probably people in families that aren't talking to each other. But the principle of being able to sit with your own history and to dive deep into it and to allow the principles to shine through, that is what builds the kingdom. We got eternity to do it, but we might as well use it now, right?
Let's do it together.
Do it together. I love you.
That's what, bro.
Thank you so much for the episode.
Absolutely.